How's it going, beautiful people? This is Jose Trujillo. I am the world's greatest living artist. Man, it looks weird. Look at that. It's all the glare. It's sunny right now in the beautiful Arizona. So, coming to you here from the car studio. I'm in the car studio, where we do more than just painting here. Yeah, more than just painting. So guys, I did a video today. Today's Art Marketing Tuesday, so the whole day is marketing. Unless you know, not the whole day, whatever. So is it marketing or not? It is marketing today, guys. Today's about marketing. I talk about different things about marketing. Those of you who haven't joined my previous videos today, I talked to you guys about the three things that I believe, the three simple steps to get your marketing on. Get it on. Marketing. Okay? Without marketing, guys, it's kind of hard for anything else to happen as an artist. It's very difficult. I don't really know what any other way to get your message across without marketing. I don't think it exists. And even if someone else does it for you, they have to market themselves as well. So I don't even think that there's any other way. Anyways, the three steps are, okay, first, define your target. Second, your marketing target, right? The second one, it was identify your blocks, what's stopping you. There's a lot of stuff that's stopping you, a lot of mental-ish that stops us, a lot of conceptual stuff, a lot of ideas, a lot of, I don't know, it could also be the way that you feel about marketing. That could be stopping you, all kinds of stuff. It could be the person you sleep with. That person could be stopping you. I'm not saying get rid of the person, but, identify what's happening. What's happening? Is your partner saying, oh man, you work too much. I wish you didn't work that much. That's a problem. That's a huge problem. You have a partner saying that, because the reality is that we're not doing enough. That's really what's happening. So we're only doing enough to feel like we don't have time. That's the sad thing about any game, playing any game, such as being an artist. So, and the third step is, after you identify your blocks, is remove them. Remove the blocks. Handle the situation. Handle your mental ideas. Handle your capacity. If you feel like you have no time, then it's true. You have no time. So what do? You identify. You tell yourself that you have no time. You constantly tell yourself, I don't have any time. I can't do social media. I can't do marketing. I can barely go to my 8 to 5 and then paint for a little bit, and then I can't do. I've been there, guys. I know what it feels like. The reality is that you can. It's just that we're not used to performing at those levels. So we make events out of everything. Considerations. We're like, oh yeah, I'm gonna do Facebook, and then really you don't do Facebook. You spend a lot of time looking at photographs or perfecting the photograph that you're gonna share on Facebook. It's perfectionism, really. Instead of shooting and then pointing, you spend the whole day pointing, trying to figure it out. That's a big problem. I know, because I went through it. So again, identify your target, right? Your goal. Number 2, identify the blocks. What's stopping you? What's suppressing you? What's slowing you down? And this could be anything. This could be from you to someone else around you. And I'm not saying to turn yourself into a victim. I'm saying look at it, see what's happening, and handle it. This could be your mom. Your mom could be like, don't paint. Don't be an artist. You'll starve. This could be your dad. It could be a friend. Okay. Those are all blocks. They're blocks. They're paradigms. And the third one is remove them. Handle them. Talk to your mom or your dad and tell them, you know what? This is what I'm doing. You got to be on my side. I'm doing this. I'm going full in. I'm going at it hard. Okay? So I just wanted to refresh you guys with those 3 steps to get your marketing going. Now, why is it so simple? Man, I was telling my wife earlier, I wish someone out there, a good Samaritan, a good soul, would have told me, dude, don't try to do what everybody else is doing. Get your muscle going first. Get your hustle muscle. Don't try to do what everybody's doing, dude. I wish someone would have told me that. Meaning, don't try to learn technique first. Don't try to learn strategy. Don't try to get it right first. Don't go and find out what's working on Instagram. Don't go and find out what's working on YouTube. Don't go and try to find out and try to learn. Knowledge is not power, guys. People say knowledge is power. Knowledge is not power. Doing is where the mother effing power is. It's in doing. It's in doing. Knowledge is shit. Knowledge is nothing. It's in a book. What can a book do? You know, it's in Google. Just Google how to use Instagram. It's 1,000 different ways. Google how to use YouTube, how to use Facebook, how to market. There's 1,000 different ways. Frank Kern has a way, right? Frank Kern, those of you who know about marketing a little bit, Frank Kern has a way. Frank Kern is all about attraction marketing and figure out the list, the powers on the list. That guy knows something about that, right? Grant Cardone has a whole different way. His is more like go and sweat to get it, right? Go knock on some doors, pick up the phone, talk to someone, do everything, do anything and everything. Grant Cardone's got that way. There's other people who have funnels, right? They're very, very good at creating funnels, marketing funnels, landing pages, and on and on and on and on. So there is no one way, and there is many strategies. And the problem is that most people, most artists, are not doing any of them. And if they do want to do some of them, they go after the strategy before going after the muscle. See, here's my example. Here's what I mean by this, because some people just don't get it. And I've been talking about this for a while, and I still get some DMs where people are like, what do you mean by this? What do you mean by that? Here's the thing, okay? I'm going to give you an example. If you are not using Facebook wrong all day, if you're not using it wrong, meaning you don't know what you're doing, but you're using it persistently and consistently, no strategy is going to help you. No technique will help you. Even the best technique in the world will not help you if you are not using Facebook already with all of your might, with all of your force, and with all of your time that you have available for that. If you're not using it wrong, I can give you the best strategy in the world, and you're not going to do it. Someone else can give you the best strategy in the world, and you're not going to do it because there is no muscle to implement the technique. You know? If I am not used to running, no matter what technique I implement, no matter what shoes I'm wearing, I ain't going to do it. I ain't going to go run 5 miles because I can't. I don't have the power. I have the capacity. I have the potential, but I don't have the character built. The muscle is not there. So if I do it, I might do it once and then blow it off and not do it again because my whole body hurts too much. This is why I talk about this kind of stuff. This is why I'm sharing a completely different angle than what many people out there are sharing. Many people out there are like, dude, here, learn how to do this, learn how to do that. Here's the new strategy for Facebook. You're going to do this. Here's how you go and like. Here's how you do this. Here's how you go and make the best videos on YouTube. It's a bunch of bullshit. It doesn't work that way. It doesn't work that way. Will it help? Of course it helps. Of course all that stuff helps, but it comes after. See, creativity and strategy comes after work. Commitment and work comes first. Once you have that down, once you're doing it enough, and you're doing it wrong, right? You're not doing it wrong. It's just wrong to what people are what people believe, right? You're not really doing it wrong. You're not doing the fancy techniques, right? Unless you're doing it enough. That's where you start going and graduating to technique. Because now you have what I call the show up ability. The most important thing in a career, and I think in our case, being an artist, an art career, is not the way you paint. It's not how good you look, the best pictures that you take, and how you share them on social media platforms. It's not your connections. The people that I know, some people who have some great connections, and they never use them because ideas, connections, on and on and on. It's all shit. None of it works. None of it truly works. What works is showing up, and showing up consistently and persistently. I'd rather have by my side, right, helping me in my career, someone who doesn't know how to do anything, but it's burning hot in commitment, than someone who knows everything and won't lift an effing finger. Because I've had people around me in my art studio that know how to do everything. They know how to do everything. They talk about everything. I had some people helping me in the studio that I had some help with marketing. They knew everything. They understood, funnels and this and that, and we're getting ready to do some work. And they start procrastinating. I'll get to it next week. That's when I learned, oh man, it's so much better. And I mean this with my heart. It's so much better to have someone in my studio that is as stupid as I am when it comes to everything about social media and techniques and funnels and all the cool marketing stuff that the gurus out there are teaching. But that the person has the biggest cojones. That the person can show up and be like, you know what, let's go take care of that. A real cowboy or cowgirl. I much rather hang out with that person. As a matter of fact, I will choose that person any day, anytime. I'll pay that person more just to have that person around me in my studio than someone who knows, who knows everything but never lifts a finger, never does anything. So that's why when I talk about marketing, today's Marketing Tuesday. Is it Tuesday? I think it is Tuesday. How's it going, Kimberly? How's it going, Laura Miller? Razor Artwork. When I talk about marketing, I don't go to techniques. I don't go to strategies. I don't talk about any of that because it's full of that kind of stuff out there. All you have to do is Google it. All you have to do is open a book, any book. I mean, go to any bookstore, go to Amazon and find out how to use Facebook, how to use YouTube, how to use Instagram, how to connect with people, and on and on and on and on. There's thousands of ways, literally thousands of ways. So when I started learning that the most important skill, because this is a skill, okay? The most important skill to learn is to show up. I said, screw it with everything else right now. Screw it with everything else. And that's when I became an ardent student of, and I mean ardent, student of gurus that were actually doing the work. Not gurus that were talking and gurus that were writing books and kind of just becoming public speakers. But I started looking into which gurus were actually doing the work. And many of them are very obscure. You don't hear of them much because they're busy. They're doing their work. They're not really public speakers. And the ones that are public speakers is because they started as public speakers and then they became extremely productive, prolific, and they build businesses. In other words, they build businesses around public speaking. So they're not just public speakers. They don't just get a fee for showing up and talking somewhere, and then that's it. So I started studying these cats all over different industries, from car salesmen to photographers, non-artistic photographers, portrait, wedding photographers, and different people that were doing things, that were actually working and had businesses and were running businesses. And I was like, what's the difference between these cats and the rest of the gang? These people were actually doing it. They were actually doing it. They were running businesses. They're hiring people. They have a business going, and they understand what it is to push and shove into the marketplace. When I started learning that, when I started learning this kind of stuff, it was about 3-4 years ago that I actually started learning about this type of cats, because I was a reader, right? Like most people that think they're entrepreneurial, or they want to go into becoming, getting an art career and whatnot. All of a sudden, you start becoming a reader, and if you haven't, please do. It's a good thing, but you can't get stuck there though, because then all you do is start consuming information and not implement. But it is good to consume the information; it's important. But I wish someone would have told me, dude, stop it with the information consumption. Stop it. Okay? Start rolling your sleeves and start doing anything you can, even if it looks wrong. I wish somebody would have told me this 10 years ago, because I started my entrepreneurial endeavors about 10 years ago. It's been over 6 years now that I've been a full-time artist. But I started with another business, not selling artwork and whatnot. But I do consider being an artist a business. If you don't, I think it's a bit confusing if you don't. The marketplace is very strict about compensating you. The marketplace is the marketplace. It doesn't fuck around. It's very strict. You bring a value, it compensates you, and value doesn't mean value to you. It means value to the marketplace. So it's very strict when it comes to value and compensating you. So when I started learning about this, I realized, man, I wish somebody would have told me, dude, come on, snap out of it, Yeah. Think, McFly. Stop worrying about techniques. Stop worrying about the next best strategy. Stop worrying about Bitcoin. You just start with Bitcoin. Don't mess with Bitcoin. Get back to your art thing, and focus on that, and put all your energy there. Stop worrying about how to use Instagram correctly, or how to use Facebook correctly. Best practices, and on and on and on and on. And just dive right in. Do it wrong. Do it often. Get your hands dirty. Figure it out. I wish somebody would have told me that early on. Because guess what, guys? Most of the people doing anything that's working, that's exactly what they're doing. They need to explain it to people. So they come up with step 1, step 2, step 3, right? But there's no such thing as that, guys. This is what I found out. There's no such thing as that. It's a multitude of things. So I found out, okay, so this sounds too complicated. What is it? And what I found out is that the most important skill is to show up. Show up consistently and persistently. It doesn't matter what you do. It doesn't matter if you don't know how to share photos, if you're using the wrong filter, if you don't have the right lighting, if you're saying stupid things like me, or if you're or when you are sharing info or content, you're doing it wrong. It doesn't matter. I am willing to bet anyone you will be more successful if you do more, even though it looks wrong, than the rest of the people that are trying to do it right. The world is full of information. We're full of shit. There's too much information. Everybody wants to learn how to do things first. And it's so simple, you know? Like I mentioned before, Frank Kern's got a way of doing it. Grant Cardone's got another way. Ty Lopez has got another way. Gary Vaynerchuk has got another way. All these guys have different ways of doing it. And there is no wrong or right way. There's only one thing in common. They all have a lot of cojones. That's the only thing that they have in common. They all show up. They all show up consistently and persistently. So there's no right or wrong way. There is no best practice. There is no, oh, do this better. They've all figured out what works for them. Some people have asked me, how do you do it on eBay? How does it work for you? And I've told them, and then they go and do it, and it doesn't work. And then they come back and they're like, well, how come it's not working for me? Well, how long did you do it for? Well, I tried it. I'm like, no, dude, I didn't try it. I dived in. If you try it, it's not going to work. You know, I tried the eBay thing. Well, of course it's not going to work. How in the hell is it going to work if you try it? It's like saying, hey, you want to marry me? Let's try this. Dude, it already is not going to work. You're trying it. You know, it's not a wine tasting thing. You have to go and marry it. You have to take it, and you have to commit to it. Otherwise, it's not going to work. It's not a wine tasting thing. See, so we treat everything as a fucking wine tasting thing. I'm gonna go try this on Instagram. I'm gonna go try this on Facebook. It's not gonna work. How the hell is it gonna work? There's no way it's gonna work. It's trying. Of course it's not gonna work. So that's why I never talk about technique. But people are always asking me that, and I never touch it. I'm always saying no. Technique does not come first. Strategy does not come first. Muscle comes first. Show up. Do it wrong. Well, what if I show up and I do it right? It doesn't matter. Just show up. Just show up. Show up. Show up. Show up. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. Show up. Show up. Show up. And then you start getting it. You start under, oh, okay, I'll do this, but not that. Oh, okay. But see, what you got now, you have true knowledge. You ain't got book knowledge anymore. You got true knowledge. You got experiential knowledge. And you have muscle, which is the most important thing. You know, you got muscle. So anyone that shows up consistently and persistently, you give him the shittiest strategy and they're going to rock it. You give them the worst strategy, I don't know, DM someone. A person that is willing to show up all the time and starts DMing people on Instagram, but a person that has muscle is lethal. If you show up all the time, you're always talking to people, you're always talking to people on Instagram, you're liking, and you develop that muscle, even the shittiest strategy, you will become the most lethal person in your environment. That's why Bruce Lee said, I don't fear the person that practices 10,000 kicks one time. He says, I fear the man who practices one kick 10,000 times. That's the man I fear. He knew that. All of the big players know that. They all know that. Man, I fear the person with a shitty strategy that does it all the time. All the time. That's all they're doing. It doesn't have to be the right one. It doesn't have to be the best one. When I used to do door-to-door sales, that's how I started when I was a kid, right? Doing door-to-door. I'm an immigrant. I came from Mexico. There was no choice of whether do you want to work or not. You work and you go to school. And I started doing door-to-door sales. And I remember I was learning from this older kid, right? He was very good. He knew how to talk to people. And he told me, look, he's like, you're thinking too much. He's like, the way to win at this, he had already been doing it for over 10 years, by the way. He's like, the way to do this is to knock as many doors as possible. He's like, you're thinking too much. You're thinking which door you already knocked. He's like, go knock on the same door 3 times the same day. It doesn't matter. He's like, it doesn't matter. The way to win at this is to knock at as many doors as possible. And then you'll get good. You'll get the hang of it. I remember him telling me, you'll get the hang of it. But that's how you do it. Man, it's the most priceless piece of wisdom I've ever gotten in my life when it comes to marketing and selling. And see, what most of us do is we spend our whole effing lives looking for the best strategy. You know why? Because we're afraid of pulling the trigger. We're all afraid. We don't know what's going to happen. Oh man, I might get rejected. Or what if I say the wrong thing? Oh, I'm going to say the wrong. Or what if I don't get enough return on my investment, right? ROI. What if? Which one works better? When I hear people saying which one works better, I already know they're not doing anything. Just the same as when I hear people saying, let me check in my calendar. I already know they're not busy. Dude, if you have to check on your calendar, you're not busy enough. I already know that one. I've been enough in the game where I know that. I know it sounds cocky, but I know that. I already know that. You tell me we get together, we're going to do something, and you say, let me check my calendar. I already know you have very little going on. Or which action works better? Which one should I do first? I already know you're not doing anything. I know because I've been there. And people that I've been around and people that I have shown how to do certain things, whether it's some Facebook marketing or selling on eBay or selling door to door. Or see, I had no problem selling door to door because I was doing it when I was a kid. Again, I'm a Mexican immigrant. I recently became a U.S. citizen, and I'm proud of myself. Fucking American dream. I started going door to door. I was like, I don't know, like 13, 12 years old. So by the time that I went and I did I was like, oh, we have to go knock on gallery doors? Man, that's easy. See, I had already lost the fear of doing that. It was still fearful. It was a different environment and on. But I had already punched through that wall. And what I've noticed is that most people that don't do anything, they're looking for what's the best way of doing it. I know because I spend a lot of time doing that too. What's the best way of doing it? What should I tell a gallery? I don't know. Shit, invite them for lunch. Tell them you I don't know. Take them lunch. You know, go to a nice cafe. Like, don't take them Subway. Go to a nice cafe somewhere. Spend $30, $40, whatever. Get him lunch. Take him lunch. Take her lunch. I don't know. They don't want to go out to lunch probably because they're busy. They're very busy people. They're running a small business. Take them lunch. Just tell them, I don't know. Will it look weird? Will it look crazy? Maybe. I don't know. If you don't want to take him lunch, take him a coffee. Take him a Starbucks coffee or something. There is no right way, guys. There is no right way. There's only just doing it. Just get it going. Get it going. I know it sounds like. I mean, again, I wish somebody would have told me this. I wish somebody would have shaken me and being like, dude, get your head out of your butt. It's not a strategy. It's a doing. I was telling my wife earlier, and I was like, oh, man, I kind of got misty. And I was like, shit, man, I spent so much time figuring. And in reality, it's just doing. It's not figuring, it's doing. There is no figuring. There is no what's the right way, what's the best way. Like, that will come, and you will get smart about it. But if you don't have the muscle, even the best way of doing it will not save you. It will not save you. I could tell you step by step how to do eBay, and if you don't have the muscle, you will not do it. I know because I've told at least a dozen people step by step how to do it, and they won't do it. And there are already artists that are working. And I scratch my head, like, why is it not working for them? Why is it not working? Is it because people like my paintings? The first 2 years that I was showing people how to do it, I thought it was my paintings, right? Because you all of a sudden you think that you're the best artist, right? You're like, oh man, it's the way I paint. It can't be anything else. Instagram, make this, please. Totally. But you know, it's none of it, right? It's none of the like I wish I could get through at least one of you guys that it's not creativity, strategy, technique comes after work. If you don't have that down first, no matter how much knowledge, how much technique, how many books you read, they are not going to save you. They're not going to save you. I used to think that it was my artwork. Like, oh, well, people just fell in love with my artwork. And I was like, you know, and after a few years of doing it, I was like, no, that's not it. I see what it is. I showed up enough. And other people are not willing to do it. You know, they're not willing to do it because I don't blame anyone. I wasn't willing to do it either. But one day I committed. You know, one day I was like, dude, I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna show up. Stumbling, super tired, don't know what the hell I'm doing, but I'm showing up. One of my mentors says, show up even if your eyes are bleeding, but show up. It's the only thing that will save you. When I heard that, I had like a heart to heart. I understood what he was talking about. It's your show up power, your true power is showing up, guys. It's the only thing that will actually make it happen. And it's not showing up. Okay, it's not one thing. It's not one thing. It's showing up consistently, persistently, aggressively, committed, and don't stop. And everybody can do it. It's like this shit's so available for everybody. When I started making a living as an artist, I was like, man, this is the weirdest thing, because I've never met anyone in my life that was making a living as an artist. Like, they were making a few, you know, $100 here, $1,000 there, but I never met anyone that was making a full-time income. I got my wife involved also. She had her own job. She was getting paid well in her job, and I was like, nope. She was in sales too, right? You're coming with me. She's like, no way. I was like, yes way. I figured something out. I thought I had figured something out, so that's why I spoke like that. I was like, I figured something out. I know how to do this. And after a few years in there, I was like, dude, I didn't figure anything. It was just work. It looks like you figured something out. That's why people are quiet about it. That's why I'm not quiet about it. I'm not afraid of sharing it, because there is no magic. So many artists are quiet about it. I know a couple of artists now that they do well, and they're very quiet about it. They don't talk about it. They don't mention how they market. They don't talk about what they paint. They don't share their painting process. They sure as hell don't do any YouTube. And I'm like, dude, that's stupid. It's stupid, because this is the way of today. Even some of the best artists are doing that. Even some of the best artists out there are doing that. They're doing video blogs. When I mean best artists, I'm not talking about the way they paint. I'm talking about like well-known artists are doing this. What is intelligence? Adapt, no? It's your ability to adapt. It's intelligence. That's why I'm always talking about this kind of stuff in a muscle first, work first. Because, man, if somebody would have told me that, I would not have wasted so much time, years thrown away, because I was too busy reading fucking books and trying to figure things out. I was trying to be clever. I was trying to like, oh, I'm gonna figure this thing out. oh, this technique and this strategy. And the moment I rolled up my sleeves and I was like, I had it with this shit. I'm not going to, yes, I'm going to keep learning, but I'm not going to keep learning and not implement. Right? And you, because you always keep learning. Things are always changing, right? Facebook's not going to be what it is today later on. Instagram's not going to be what it is today. And on, and maybe there's going to be a different type of, like, platforms are going to keep changing. That's why when people say, how do I do Facebook? You don't. There is nothing you can do about Facebook. Facebook's always changing. The algorithm's changing. They limit what they show to people. You don't figure it out. There are people out there that figure it out, but they charge you for it. That's their job. Like, that's the actual job, is figuring stuff out like that. But you don't figure it out. You go and do it, and you do it wrong, but you do it often. And then by the time that you feel like you figure it out, it already changed. It already morphed into something else. It's no longer what it promised you in the beginning. eBay was the same way. I know artists today, still today, are trying to figure eBay out. I'm like, you don't figure it out. There's nothing to figure out. It's very self-explanatory. It's a marketplace. It's saturated. Whoever shows up more often has a better chance. There is nothing to figure out. You just show up. People are trying to figure out the titles. The title. I remember I spent over a year trying to figure out titles because my head was still up my butt. I was like, titles, oh, titles, figure out titles, so that you can be found in their search engine optimization and algorithm, and oh my god. And then I had friends who were like, I know everything about SEO, search engine optimization, I'm going to share it with you, we're going to do it, and blah blah blah. And I was working on that, and then I realized this is all a bunch of bullshit.
Oh, in the front, sorry.
Thank you so much.
Sure, bye-bye. Have a good day. You too.
I'm making a video, dude, okay?
What's up, people?
So, I started realizing this. There is nothing. I mean, I'm not saying don't learn. That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying you even if you learn, guys, like, what comes first, what should always, nothing is senior to action. Nothing is senior to repetitive motion. Nothing. I don't care. You could be the best person on the phone. The person that makes the most calls will always kick your ass. I know that because I used to do phone sales as well. The person that does more calls will always kick your ass because they have more opportunity of talking to different people. Even if they're a horrible closer, even if they have no idea how to close someone, even if they have no idea how to handle an objection, they will learn that. Out of just sheer movement, they're going to learn it. See, what happens with movement is that you become smart. Movement actually makes you smart. It's what makes you smart. No one reads a book on swimming and then goes and tries to swim.
No, right? They take lessons for like years.
Well, yeah, but true, hijo, but most people just jump into the water. No one gave you a book and told you this is how you're going to do it. They make you go in the water.
Well, yeah, isn't that what they also do with dogs? They show them the water and then the dogs just
That's right.
Like,
so
here's the water, don't drown.
That's right. So what I recommend, guys, is look, jump in the water. Jump in the water. Get wet.
It's not gonna kill you.
It's not gonna kill you. Get wet. Do it wrong.
As many times as you can to learn.
Doggy swim. And then read a book or two about it. If you want to. But nothing will beat jumping in the water. Nothing is senior to that. There's so many people invested in the other day I got someone DM me. No, it wasn't a DM. I'm lying. It wasn't a DM. It was an email. Someone emailed me and told me, what is the best book for Facebook? For doing Facebook?
No.
What is the best book And I'm like, dude,
there is no best book.
There is no best
book.
book.
You have to jump in.
That's right. Tell them, dude.
It's not going to burn you. It's not going to kill you. If it's real water, be careful.
See? Even my son is telling you guys.
I'm going to get back to reading.
Okay. So there is no best book, guys. Those books are made for people to entertain you. They're really made to entertain you.
They're just made for your money.
They're made to entertain you. They want to keep you engaged. They're made to almost to paralyze you guys. I'm not saying that the knowledge is not valid and it's good. It is, but I'm gonna be honest with you guys. Usually those books are for two people. Okay. Almost every book out there on strategy, technique, any of that type of knowledge is for two people. Okay? Only two people can benefit from that. The first category of people that are going to benefit from that are the people that want to entertain and want to paralyze and don't want to pull the trigger. They're made for that. They know that you're going to spend months, years maybe, reading about it and never really go and dive in and start doing it. It's kind of like diets, right? Like the diet for this, the paleo diet, the diet for that. Ain't no diet. It's just movement, right? Like there's no diet. Let me just explain this real quick. Hold on. There's no diet for like oh did you hear the new diet? It's the paleo diet. Oh my God, yeah. And then before that it was like I don't know what other diets, but it's like the what do they call it? Watch your protein and carbohydrates and blah, blah, blah. And then I'm like, I don't think that people that are exercising are looking at that. I think that people are exercising to just build the muscle to exercise. And then of course, they go and they start doing, watching what they eat and whatnot. I don't think nobody starts like that. I don't think so. I think that I personally think that they're made to keep people engaged and like, oh, that's not true. Some stuff works for some people, and no, I don't think so. I think it's effort. I think the reason why I haven't been looking like Brad Pitt in Fight Club is because I'm not willing to put the effort yet. I'm not putting the effort. There's no diet that's gonna save me. There's no milkshake. There is none of that shit. None of that is going to make me look like Brad Pitt, except like breaking the back of that mentality and just willing to pay the price and go to the gym or go not even go to a gym. Probably what I have to do is I don't know, start doing some jumping jacks where I stand in my studio. That'll probably get my blood pumping. And it's the same thing with art, guys. It's the same thing with art. This books, let me get back to the categories. The first category is for people who they know they're going to entertain. These books are meant to entertain you because they know that the vast majority of people will never do anything and they want to keep you entertained because that's what sells. It's candy for the brain. Okay, it's like chocolate for the brain. Oh, the new technique. Oh, new strategy. Oh, see, this is why it hasn't worked for me. No, dude, the only reason why it hasn't worked for you is because you don't do it enough. That's the only reason why. It's not because you were missing out on some technique. Okay, so that's the first category. The second category is for the people who are already so in tuned and they're so they're working so hard at it that a technique is worth a read for them. That's why they say CEOs. The one thing that CEOs all have in common is reading, and I think being a black belt. I think like something like 70% of CEOs are black belts. I read somewhere. But another thing is reading. They all read. They'll do some sort of martial arts, and they read. They read often. They read a lot. And why am I saying CEOs? Why am I? Because they're people that are doing, guys. That's the only reason why I'm saying. It's people that are doing. People that are not contemplating, hoping, wishing. They're people that are doing. They're doing something, right? They're working at something. They're CEOs and entrepreneurs. They're doing. They're not just kind of hoping and wishing for things to happen. And I think those books come in handy. Like for example, I'll read an article every now and then on eBay. But I'm not reading it because also that eBay works for me. No, I'm reading it because I want to stay on top, right? I want to stay on top.
Maybe you'll read it for an update, like if there's a new update to eBay.
That's exactly.
Because that's what kind of happens with Minecraft players, you know?
Minecraft?
Yeah. Like when there's a new update, they look on YouTube, they go online, they check what's going on, and like they do that. But I have one thing, okay? So like how I got good at gaming and stuff is like there's two ways.
Dude, you want some neaters? I'm gonna get some neaters for you.
Yeah, let's do that. But like,
okay, well, spit it out quick.
when I first got into gaming, I just jumped in, like you said. But how I got really good is that I started reading books.
That's right.
Like I started reading books on the controls.
That's right. So there are updates, guys. You start updating. Okay. The reason why I read stuff about Facebook or read a book on Facebook, it's not so I can learn Facebook. That's not why I do it. You're not going to learn Facebook that way.
No,
and you're not going to pick up momentum that way either. Okay, it's not going to work that way either. The only way you're going to pick up momentum is if you put in hours. You have to put in hours of it a day. And if you're not willing to put hours of it a day, it's fine. Put in 15, 20 minutes. It's fine. It's still going to work. It's just going to take a little bit longer, but it's still going to work. You have to put in time in it. And then you read something about it, and you're like, oh, okay, I see. This piece goes here. All right. But you're already rolling. And that's why techniques work when you're already rolling. When you're not rolling, techniques just overwhelm you. They're going to make you, they're going to create something. They're going to make you enthusiastic. And then they're going to overwhelm you. First, you're going to get all jumpy and jacked up, and you're going to be like, yeah, this was the piece I was missing. Now it's going to work. And if you haven't built a muscle to show up consistently, you're going to be like, oh, okay. And then you're going to, this is what you're going to do. You're going to go read another technique. You're going to go try to find out a better way of doing it. And I spent my life doing this. I spent my life. I probably spent like half my life doing this. And until one day I found out, dude, it's not that. It's not this technique. It's not that technique. It's not this strategy. It's not that. It's the muscle. You start showing up consistently and persistently, and that's where the magic is. No matter what technique, even if you have no technique, you'll develop one just by doing it. How do you think that people come up with techniques? They're always invented. They're invented by people that are always doing it. That's how they come up with the new ones. All right, guys, take care. I'm gonna get some food for my kid here. I'll talk to you soon.